You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandi and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in again.
Yay, welcome back guys. I'm so excited for this episode because it is the last one of 2018.
Whoop, whoop.
It's all dedicated to champagne, celebrating all the amazing things in life.
Yes, in honor of New Year's Eve, we are talking about goals, goal setting, and the importance of it. And
we're going to get into manifestation and intention setting and how we kind of go about planning for our next year and hopefully give you guys some tips and tricks that you can implement into your life and make 2019 so amazing.
Yes, and how to follow through and make your resolutions actual changes in your life.
Yeah.
Not just say them and never see them happen, but we'll give you steps on how you can make them reality.
Yes, I love it. So wrapping up 2018, it's so crazy. I feel like this year flew by so fast. I think everyone kind of feels the same. I mean, we're all so busy. Every day gets busier and busier, and we don't take time to just stop and appreciate the days. And before you know it, here we sit, New Year's Eve.
You're like, here we are again.
Right. So let's talk about, how about we talk about our goals that we achieved last year and what we failed to achieve. How about that?
I know,
to
the
be
win
real,
and the lose.
To be real.
Yes.
So what's up, girl?
Okay. Let's see, I'm actually proud. I think this was the first year that I achieved some of my resolutions from 2018.
Yes.
So my biggest one was I wanted to read more books because I have never been a good reader. You know,
really?
I want to be a reader and I always have, but I don't know if I didn't make time for it or if, I don't know what my problem was. But anyway, so this year I really got into audiobooks. That was kind of my entry.
I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And so I listened to so many different topics, things that I was lacking in, like how to be a better salesperson, how to be a better business owner, how to manage your time. And so I started with those, and then that transitioned me into reading books for fun. And so I did that last year.
That's a really good goal achieved.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. So many people fail to like read on a regular basis or even like audio podcasts or books.
Yeah.
And just keep flooding your brain with information. It keeps you busy, keeps your mind off of like maybe not so good things going on in your life and always propels you in a forward motion.
Exactly. It keeps you from getting stale. And, you know, if you aren't moving forward, you're usually moving backwards. So I moved forward last year. Woohoo.
Yay. Okay. So what was the thing you didn't accomplish that was on your list?
Oh, I didn't do that one.
Okay. Trying to get out easy. Well, I'll let you think about that. I'll share mine.
Okay.
So my win for the year, the goal that I really wanted to accomplish was my business. So leaving bartending for so long, and I transitioned into being a personal trainer and always done cosmetology. And then this past year, I'm like, I need to make this my mission, my income. And so for business, I started doing the health coaching and working with a team of holistic babes. And then that kind of transitioned to even like greater projects and now podcasting and sharing my mission. So I turned my messy, chaotic life and all my struggles and challenges with my health into a message.
Also, I have to say I'm very proud of us for the podcast because I think our meeting, the day we were having coffee and tea, I think that was early August.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, we should start a podcast. And then we had our first meeting about it the next week. And we launched 5 episodes in, November, December.
I know.
So
we were on a roll.
We made it happen. I'm so proud.
I'm so proud too. Because there's moments where you like think, that would be so awesome to start that project or do this or do that. And it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think we were both so passionate about what we have to share. And this is like a fun project where it's going to make an impact. And
we had such motivation that we were just like, let's do it.
We're doing it.
We know that there's no time to lose.
No. So now I'm even more excited looking into 2019 and all the different guests that we're going to bring on, all the topics that we've come up with to share with you guys. They're going to be wild.
We're getting better and better.
Controversial. Like it's going to get good in 2019.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. And then the goal that I did not achieve.
We always have one of those.
So this one I have not achieved 3 years in a row. No. And it's to be able to do the splits.
Me either.
Total crazy goal, but something I've always wanted to do. And I was never in gymnastics or cheerleading or anything like that. I've just always been impressed. And it's not happened. And I know why. This is what we're going to go into talking about today. But that goal was not achieved because I wasn't making it a priority.
Yeah.
It's not super difficult. It's free.
Yeah.
But I just didn't make time to stretch, right? Like I'm watching TV anyways. I could be stretching, or post workout, I should be stretching. And I think I'm actually further from my goal than I've ever been.
Your muscles are getting tighter.
They are. As we get older, flexibility is one of the key ways to stay young and not age. So it's happening this year, guys. I'm going to take a before photo tomorrow morning, me trying to do the splits. And I can't wait until next year, this exact same time, to see how much further I've come along.
Yes.
It's happening.
Okay. We want to see the results.
I will give progress photos on our Instagram.
Follow live.
It'll be like July. And I'm like, she made it down an inch. But it's going to be awesome.
Progress.
Got it. You guys can all hold me accountable. So send me a message or a DM and be like, how's the splits going, girl? You stretching?
How close are you to that wall?
Yes. So did you come up with something you haven't?
Yes. Okay. So my 2018 fail was my posture.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yes. I told myself I was going to do yoga at least 3 times a week because when I'm doing yoga regularly, my posture is perfect. And I've noticed before when I've been really
disciplined in doing
disciplined.
it.
Yeah. When I've been really disciplined about working out all the time. So that was my goal for 2018. I was like, I'm getting back into yoga. My posture will be perfect. I will stand straight all the time. And that didn't happen. So I'm still slumping over here, but 2019.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's a really good goal, because now me going through my healing journey, and I've been working with a lot of chiropractors, and I never realized that how much posture has to do with every organ in your abdomen. Like what pulls on your hip, pulls on your chest, which pulls on your heart muscle, which pulls on your neck. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know it's all connected, but if you have that misalignment of posture, it even affects like your heart rate and your breathing.
Yeah. And your blood pressure.
Oh my
everything.
gosh. So
body shuts down.
I really, really like that goal. I'm going to add that into my splits, just kind of doing some.
I know we're going to be the most bendy people by the end of the year.
Yes, being flexible for the win. So yeah, let's kind of shift gears then into 2019. And I love that, this time of year, everyone kind of focuses on their new goals and new year, new me kind of thing. But I really feel this excitement. I'm sure you kind of feel it too. We have more tools than ever to better our lives. Social media is becoming more, popular. You can find any information that you could possibly want, whether it's YouTube, internet, Pinterest. I mean, multiple doctors are all over social media sharing their genius and information overload.
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like we can have all the resources and tools to make our lives as great as we possibly want them, which is really exciting.
Yeah. Everyone's being drawn to that. Everyone wants to better their lives these days. I feel like more so than ever.
Yeah.
Like when we were growing up, it was always like, oh, party, party, party. Don't worry about your body. Don't worry about this. But now all age groups are being so conscious of what they're putting in and what they're doing and their mental habits and their daily habits.
Anything from like self-care, like we talk about wheatgrass, the self-care and everything for you, all the way to like business and making your relationships better. And it's awesome. I'm so excited for it every year to see it grow.
Such a good shift.
Yay. So 2019, you want to talk about...
Well, you have a different word for resolutions, right? Like you don't use New Year's resolutions.
No, I don't. So here is my whole theory on like not saying my New Year's resolution. I like to say my New Year's intention. And I believe that intention, to be able to set an intention is coming from a space of, first of all, gratitude, like, being appreciative for something that's possible, but intending on something to happen is like saying it's going to happen. I plan on it happening, right? Like I intend to be able to do the splits.
Right.
It means like intending it's going to happen. But if I say resolution, it comes from this place of like lack. Like I'm unable to do them right now.
Almost kind of like a place of hope. Like I hope this happens to me.
Like I'm resolving a problem that existed, right? Resolution comes from the word resolve. So I'm resolving something that's inadequate or something I don't have right now. But intention is like, I'm planning on this happening. I'm believing in it so much that I intend it to be true. So I love sending intentions.
Yeah.
And using my sage and my Palo Santo and intending it to be.
Right.
I just believe. Your mind.
Power of thoughts are crazy.
Totally. I totally believe it. So that's kind of how I go about it. And I believe that when you set your intention, you have to be really specific. And I know we're going to kind of talk about that with goals, but make sure when you set your intentions that it's actually something you want. Because when you say it out loud and you intend it to be true, the universe will answer.
Right.
And it will happen.
So you better make sure you actually want it.
And you better be ready for it to happen. There's been phases in my life where I remember I really wanted a relationship, and that led to marriage. And I really, really wanted it. And I was putting it out in the universe. And then I met my husband. And when we started dating, I was like, oh, crap. He's the one. And all my fun days are gone.
Yeah, single days are behind me.
I can't just go out and party. And it's like the universe handed it to me when I was really, projecting it and being open to the idea. So make sure your intentions are clear and you're ready for them to happen. Because the universe works in magical ways.
Definitely.
And then looking at goals, right? So I love your acronym. Can you share that with us?
Okay.
Let's talk about goals. Get into the specifics, the details.
Specifics. So when you set a goal, you want to outline. And this is the only way I can get anything done in my life is by following this acronym. It's genius, but it's actually called SMART. That's the acronym. So S, you want to have specific goals. Like you want to be as specific as possible. If you want to lose weight, you can't just say, I want to be skinny. You have to say, I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to lose 50 pounds. You need to set, your specific goal. You want it to be measurable as well. So obviously, if you're losing weight, that's easily measurable. You have a number on the scale. But if it's a financial goal, then you need to have something that you can track. If you want to save $30 a month that you're spending on frivolous things, then you need to have something that you can track. The A is an achievable goal. You don't want to just say, I want to look like someone else or that I want a spaceship. I mean, it needs to be something that you can definitely achieve. Then the R is relevant. You want it to be relevant to your life, relevant to your surroundings, relevant to, just something that you can build upon. Nothing, again, like a spaceship. Get real. And
get real.
Get real. And the T of SMART is time bound. So you want to have a deadline. You want to hold yourself accountable. Yeah, because otherwise you could say, 4 years later, I still haven't done the split.
Right? That was my fail. This is when you said the SMART acronym, having it specific and measurable and achievable, I should have done that. And I'm going to do that this year. And I think having that T, the time, by this time next year, I've got to make this happen. I can't wait till July to start because it's not going to happen. It's not achievable in a month.
Right. And you can break it down too. So you can set your main goal. So I want to be able to do the splits by next December and then break it down. Like each month I want to be an inch closer.
Yeah.
And that way you can check off like baby steps.
And 3 times a week, I'm actually stretching for 30 minutes at a time.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I need to do.
So yeah, set your main deadline for whatever goal it is and then break it down into pieces that are less overwhelming. Because sometimes if you look at the big, huge picture of your goal, then you can be like, wow, I'm never going to reach that. But if you break it down into smaller, more attainable things, then it's a lot less pressure.
I think that's so important because a lot of times, even my girlfriends and a lot of my clients, when we're talking about their goals, let's just financial, right? That's something everyone can kind of relate to. A lot of people have these massive financial goals. It's like pay off debt and their debt is like $80,000. And it's like, how is that even going to be possible?
Right.
And I love being able to break it down, right? Just saying $100 more a month than what I'm paying. And those little things make such a big difference. There's books and books on that whole theory of, compounding your debt paying off and the snowballing effect. And when you can break it down, I think it makes so much more sense because our brains aren't overwhelmed,
Right.
Or I think another one, I was having a conversation with someone was their relationship and feeling like their marriage wasn't kind of where they wanted it to be. And, just saying you got to work harder, you got to put more time in it. It just seems so vague. And they're like, how is my marriage going to get better just by spending more time together? So, talking about breaking it down, one day a week for 60 minutes, we're going to sit down without our phones.
Yeah.
And if the first 3 times we just stare at each other for 60 minutes, so be it, but it's having those set in stone, measurable, tangible actions.
Right.
And then over, the course of time,
you become more intimate in that setting.
Yeah. And things get better.
Closer to your end result.
Exactly. So just setting those small little things up.
Yes.
I love that. I think, too, with your goals is getting real. is it your goal, right? How many times do we kind of feel pressure to make something our goal, especially this time of year? We're bombarded with ads and looking at our friends' Instagrams and seeing what they're doing. Like their goal is to build a booty in 2019. Well, I want to build a booty.
Yeah.
Or someone's goal is, like we just said, get out of debt. Well, I should probably get out of debt too, right? And how often do we like really not focus on like what is going to serve me best? What is my number one goal?
Right.
Like, yes, I would love to do everything, but make sure it's your goal.
Social media plays a huge part in that because, you know, if you see that someone is a really successful travel blogger, then you're like, oh, yes, I want to do that too. I want to travel and do this and that. And you might not see what goes into it. Maybe all the airplanes are not for you. Maybe you hate travel.
Yeah.
Maybe like the pictures look great, but maybe that's not your life. Maybe you appreciate your 9-to-5 desk job, you know? So you do have to really evaluate what you see and what you think and what you want for your life.
Yeah, totally agree. Because we can get lost in like everyone else's goals and what everyone else is doing. And that can make you feel frustrated and discouraged, right? Like I started following all these yoga people because I literally did this yesterday. I said, okay, I got rid of all my Instagram accounts that I've been following for fitness because right now I can't go to the gym due to my health. Yeah. And it was like almost depressing where I'm looking at these big muscular, like fit girls doing all the things I used to do and can't do. I said, I'm done. Like 2018, sorry girls, I'll be back following you like as soon as I can.
Yeah.
But I unfollowed and then I'm like, well, now I need to fill my feed with things that are going to serve me. What's my new goal? And looking at the splits and flexibility and like strength, I started following all these yoga girls and what they're posting is like more than the splits. Like they're doing like crazy bendy things. And I'm like, okay, don't get discouraged. They've been doing this for years, years and years and years. So 4 years ago, if I would have started doing the splits, I could be here. But know that when you're looking at someone or a goal that someone else has achieved, they've just put different amount of time and effort into it.
Right.
So
you can't look at their end result and compare it to your first step.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the day that you plant the seed isn't the day that you eat the fruit.
Right.
So
I love that.
You know, like looking at your goal, like make it yours. Make sure it's yours. Make sure it's going to serve you and your life and what you really want out of it.
Right.
And then focus on that.
I love it.
And then make your SMART list. So that's awesome. And then the other thing I share with people is make sure you have the tools. So, you know, I get a lot of people that want to lose weight, you know, and we talk about weight loss is just a side effect of really good health. So if you want to lose weight or you want to get healthy, do you have the tools to do so? So do we have a gym membership? It's like breaking it down into like tangible things, right? Do you have a gym membership? No? Okay, cool. Do you have a space in your home that you could do some at-home workouts? Do you have a yoga mat? Do you have some weights or do you have some heavy 5-gallon jugs of water that we can use? You know, we can find resources, but make sure you have the tools.
Do you have healthy recipes to know what to cook for dinner instead of grabbing fast food?
Do you have even the healthy foods in your cupboards, right? Like I want to make a healthy meal, but yet I don't have even spices. You know, I need to go buy some like turmeric and cinnamon and garlic. So make sure that you have the tools to attain your goal, and then you'll be set to kind of propel yourself forward.
Yeah. And then also your why, like your big picture, what motivates you. Yeah.
Why is huge. I think, you know, it will always come back to your why. So let's just take weight loss for an example, because it's such a popular one. Is people tell me I want to lose weight. And I'm like, that is amazing. But why? Yeah. Why do you want to lose weight? You know, and usually the answer is like, I want longer lifespan. I want to have more energy to spend time with my children. I want to wake up in the morning with a bunch of energy and vibrancy. So that's your why. You know, your goal is like the physical thing that you're going to see the difference, or it's going to like make the impact in your life. But there's always a reason you set that goal. So I want you to take it even one step further backwards. Set your goal and then say, why did I want this goal? Where did it come from? And write that down. I think that's almost more important than writing down your goal, because you'll always come back to the why. So on the days that you want to eat junk food, or that you're craving sugar, or days that you don't want to go to the gym, and you see that why that says, I want to be able to live longer with my children. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. That's like telling you like, this is why I even started this journey in the first place. Right. And it's going to hold you to that standard to be able to do the things that you need to do. Right. And you've got to, whatever your why is, when you nail it down, you've got to put it everywhere so that you see it, you're reminded of it,
and it's constantly on the forefront of your mind, because when you're going through the motions of achieving whatever goal, it's going to get cumbersome. It's going to get ugly at times. Yeah, you're going to be like, I hate this. But you have to remember your why, and then it will shift your mind into a positive place where you're like, yeah, this task might not be my favorite, but the end result is going to be more than worth it.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it makes it a lot easier to go through the trenches
I agree.
to get where you want to be.
I agree. Like for me doing the splits, it seems so silly, but like my why is to be able to prove myself I could.
Right.
Because it's painful. Like I hate stretching. It's so painful. And as soon as I start like feeling pain, I back up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to be uncomfortable. Why would I sit here and be uncomfortable for 30 minutes?
Right. Well, that's what most people, what their hang up is with working out. And they're like, oh, I don't want to.
It's
like
uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then they end up miserable because they can't bend. They have all these tight muscles, all these like neck pains that lead to shoulder pains and back pains.
Yeah.
And, you know, before you know it, you're just like this really tense ball of probably
Stressing.
yeah. And so, I mean, if you would just go through the motions with a why of, you know, I want to feel better and live a great life.
Yeah.
Then each workout would seem like a little stepping stone
Little
toward
easier.
that. And yeah.
Yeah. I think of that. Like I want to learn to do the splits so bad because I want to prove to myself I can do it.
Right.
I can go through the pain for 30 minutes. I'm stronger than that. And to see that physical outcome,
Yeah.
it will prove to myself I can do it.
Right.
You
And
know?
when you challenge your body like that, or your mental body or your physical body or anything,
Yeah.
and then you achieve something, it just floods your body with endorphins, and it can totally shift your perspective on life.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like then I will be stronger mentally to handle so many other things in my life.
Right.
You know, other challenges that come around or business struggles or relationship. I'm like, okay, I forced myself to get through uncomfortable situations in my past. I can do it again and again and again.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So many times in life, we just get really complacent. And one of my favorite motivational entrepreneurs, Peter Voog, he says that so many times when people have 20 years of experience on their resume, it's really just 1 year of experience that they've repeated 20 times.
that's so brilliant.
Because they just don't challenge themselves. They end up not using their brain because they just keep going through the motions.
Yeah.
So the more you challenge and change and grow and learn, the sky is the limit. Like you can just do
Yes.
anything.
And that's why I love like resetting intentions and having these goals. And I'm so crazy about them because I feel like you have to have something you're moving towards or you get complacent, right? I mean,
Right.
you get kind of stuck in that negative routine or you're just feeling like you don't have a purpose or you don't have like motivation.
Right.
And
You're like, what is the point? We're just here doing the rat race for what reason?
Yeah. And it's tough to get started, but once you kind of break it down and use that SMART acronym, I think that's just perfect.
Yeah.
It's a really good starting point. And finding the motivation, right?
Yes.
That's the hardest thing.
It
Where to
is.
start? How do you go from one day being like, whatever, I just got to bring the kids to school and go home or go to school, come home, do homework. How do
Yeah.
you find that motivation to just
Exactly.
start going?
I think it comes down to your why, honestly. I think that's, you know, all you can focus on.
Yeah.
It's just that big picture. Like, this is how my life is going to be better. And
Yeah.
you just have to start. Like, you can't wait around. There is never going to be a good time. And they say, you know, don't worry about losing money. So if it's a financial investment you're making, financial risk, or if you want to start your own business because you hate your job and you have all this creativity that's going to waste, you just have to start because money can always be recovered, but you can never get time back.
Totally
So
agree.
if you've been sitting on this idea for 10 years, you'll never get those 10 years back. But if you start today on that idea, then in 10 years from now, it'll be huge. It'll be great.
Yeah. Messy
So-
action is better than no action.
Right. I mean, look at us. Like our first couple of podcasts, we're like, ooh.
We're doing it. We're just getting into action.
But yeah, it will never be perfect when you first start.
No, and you try and you want it to be, you know, I'm sure with opening a brick and mortar, you're like trying to nail out every detail of like, we got to make sure we have the right business cards and we have the perfect logo and we've got everything everywhere. But
Yeah.
it gets to the point where it's like, you got to open the door. You can't be perfect. You just have to
do.
open the door and get on with it.
Yep. And the rest you can, you know, always improve. And it will always improve. Like the more time you invest in your project or your goal or whatever it is, I mean, it's just bound to get better, but it will never be perfect from minute one.
Yeah.
So don't be
lose
afraid.
the time.
Yeah.
Don't lose the time, because you're so right. It doesn't come back to us. And how many people, say 10 years ago, I had this great idea and now someone else has it.
Yeah.
Or
someone else started last year. And you're like, well, you could have been 9 years ahead of them if you had just started.
I felt that way about like YouTubing. It's something I've wanted to do for 10 years. And when I was like 24 years old, and I'm like, darn it, I should have got on that bandwagon. Like, I'm not letting that happen again in my life. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to take that lesson and do the things.
Yeah.
Say yes more to the things that like are going to fulfill you.
Right. And don't think about it too long. Just do it. Just start.
Yeah, there's a really interesting, I should see if I can like link it, but there's this amazing motivational speaker that talks about the science of the brain. And as soon as you have a thought of something you want to do, within 5 seconds, your brain is going to talk you out of it.
It's gosh, that fast.
No, seriously. It's like, if you like, let's say you want to like buy something on Amazon, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I need to go buy this like supplement, or I want to go buy this like item. You go on Amazon, you look it up, and then your brain has then within 10 seconds stopped you from buying it. I don't have the money, or I'll buy it later, or you don't really need that. And it's like all this negative talk. It could be even the same thing with action. Like, I'm going to call this guy I like, right? You're like, I'm going to call him. I want to see what he's doing. And then within 10 seconds, your brain's like, don't call him. He's probably with someone else, or he's busy, or he's going to think you're weird, or like you're desperate. Or we start all like 10 seconds is like the time that your brain just starts coming up with all these negatives. So the way that she explains it, as soon as you have the thought that you want to do something, you are to immediately count back, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and do it.
Oh.
So you are counting to yourself 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're preventing your brain from thinking of anything negative. And then at 1, you have to get up and go do that thing.
I love that.
It's awesome. I'll have to like link it somewhere.
Okay.
But
so have an idea, count backwards from 5, and then do it.
just do it.
That's kind of how we did the podcast too.
Yeah, it was. I was like, yes. Okay,
yes,
write down all the ideas right now before we turn around. I think that's awesome.
It works.
I love that. So don't be afraid to start, because I think fear is the thing that holds us back the most.
Mm-hmm. What is that acronym that of fear? It's like false evidence appearing real.
Appearing real.
Yeah. So fear is just like this made up thing in our heads that we cling to and we believe it as reality. And really it's just your brain like talking all these negative things. So you just have to combat with positive.
So real sometimes. Like fear is, I think, the thing that holds us back from greatness. And going back to what we were talking about is stepping into that challenge, stepping into the fear where it's really uncomfortable and you feel like I can't do this. When you make it out on the other side, you're like, holy F, like I did this. And it propels you so much faster and forward in your life. So many, motivational speakers, people that you listen to that are very successful always talk about that one moment where they were so scared to do that one damn thing.
Yeah.
And it changed the course of their life forever.
Yeah. And for those people, we're also thankful that they got past that one moment because of all the greatness they've provided.
Exactly. Step into the fear. They always say your greatness is waiting on the other side of fear.
Oh,
because it's like you're usually afraid of that one thing that would change your life so much, like public speaking. So many people are afraid of public speaking, but the reason for that is because inside they feel like they want to say something but can't.
Right.
Public speaking isn't fearful for people that really have no platform or desire to do so. It's only a fear when you really want to do it but can't.
Yeah. Because again, those negative thoughts.
So if you could just get through it, the amount of info you could share, the amount of impact you could make on the world, if you just get out of your own way.
Right. Affirm yourself with lots of positive affirmations and just do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing. Which manifestation is like a big part of that, right? Like
yes,
vision boarding. I think it's becoming all the rage right now. I'm so in love with vision boarding. Have you done it?
I have. So I haven't been as diligent about doing it as I want to be, but there is one thing that I achieved that way. I was needing a car because Nate and I were driving this old, I think I've talked about it on another episode, but this like really embarrassing car and it was breaking down left and right. Like the AC went out in the middle of Florida summer.
Oh no.
I mean, I would show up everywhere just sweating bullets. It was also the time we were starting our juice bar. And so I was trying to make a good impression in my new city. And then I'm like just a sweaty mess everywhere. So anyway, the car had a million problems, but I decided that I wanted a Jeep. I've always loved Jeeps. And I wanted a white one, I think because of the Florida heat. And I wanted it to be used because I've never been a fan of car payments. I don't like to spend that much money on cars. I want something reliable, but something, fairly cheap.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put that very specifically on my vision board. And I think it was just 1 or 2 months later when Nate and his dad showed up to Good Vibes when I was working with a white Jeep, I think 2002, that they had bought off of one of their friends.
Oh my gosh.
And she was just selling it because she wanted a different car. And they were like, wait, this kind of looks like Kathleen. So they showed up and I was like, that's exactly what I had on my vision board. How did you know?
It's like exactly what I was saying. Intention.
Yes.
Set the intention and be prepared for the universe to deliver.
It does every time.
It's so true. The same thing happened with my husband. He's been wanting this Jeep forever. He talked about it for years. And I'm like, you're not buying that brand new Jeep. They're expensive.
I remember.
I was like, it's not happening. You're not doing it. And like, he put it out there and he wanted it so bad. He talked about it. He like almost believed he was like going to get it.
Well, and didn't he make a plan? He was like, if I can save up this money for the down payment.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
We had a deal where he breeds clownfish. And I said, you can buy that Jeep when you pay for it in clownfish baby money. It has to be in cash. Like you're not getting a payment. So what ended up happening is, it was a huge amount of money with all the customizations and stuff he wanted. And the way the world works, my dad was down visiting from Wisconsin, was fishing with his cousin who's like in his 60s. And this older gentleman said that his son was getting rid of his Jeep because he was going back to college. And he had put all these modifications on it, put all this money into it. And he just wanted to get rid of it for what he owed on it. And it was like half the amount of what a new Jeep costs, let alone all the modifications. And so, of course, my dad did the same thing, was like,
yeah,
oh, I know my son-in-law wants this, blah, blah, blah. And they show up in the driveway with it. And I'm like, what is that? There was no clownfish baby money.
You're like, was this Mandi approved?
Like,
I don't know.
Hello, but the universe provided. And he was like, I can't turn this down because, the financial aspect of it. And
yeah.
Before you knew it was like 4 months and he had the Jeep he wanted. So intention
wild.
setting is so huge.
Yes. There's something about imagination and action. So like thinking about something and actually doing it, those two things talk to the same neural pathways in the brain.
Yes.
So there was a study that did finger movements. And so this study had 2 test groups, and one group of people did these like pre-required finger movements. I believe it was for like 4 weeks. And so they did that. And then the second test group, they were thinking the same finger movements. So they were all like printed on a piece of paper.
Yes.
And they were instructed to
like move the left thumb, move the left index.
Right. But
like a certain pattern.
Move it in your mind, but don't move your actual finger. So in your mind, you would picture like, oh, let me move my left thumb, but your left thumb wouldn't actually move. You were just thinking about the action.
Yeah.
So they invested the same amount of time, same number of times a day. And the end result, the group that was doing the physical movements, their muscles increased 30%. And then the group that was just thinking about the actions, their muscles improved 22%.
Wow.
So 30 versus 22. And
pretty close.
Yeah, the mental group, they did not move their fingers. They were just thinking of the movements. So, I mean, it's just powerful. It just shows that your brain is capable of so much. So if you're thinking about your intentions and your habits and you're aware of them and you're aware of your end goal at all times, I mean, you can just achieve anything just by thinking about it, and then add in your physical aspect of actually stretching or
doing the action, doing the thing.
Yeah, doing your baby steps. I mean, it's just, you can achieve anything. It's so impressive.
I totally agree. That whole like manifestation part of it is so essential. Putting it on your vision board is like opening your mind up to the possibility that it could really happen. I'll never forget this. Me and my bestie were driving down Gulf Boulevard on Clearwater Beach, and it's like all these mansions everywhere, right? And we drove past like this brand new construction home. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. It's like the massive, massive home. And we're driving by it, and she was like, oh, I wish. And I'm like, girl, don't wish. That's going to happen someday. Like, I'm going to live in a house that big, or, you can too. Like, don't say I wish. Like, say, that's a possibility.
Right.
That's going to happen to me, because that makes your mind believe things are possible in such a different way than being like, oh, I wish I could like have a better car, or I wish I had a nicer home.
And then dismissing that thought forever.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I believe that anything is possible. And so on my vision board, sometimes I put these like really crazy things. And I'm going to tell you, like last year on my vision board, I put, a vineyard. And one of the things on my bucket list for years was to stomp grapes at a vineyard.
Yeah.
And it sounds bizarre, but it's like everything that is like on my bucket list is weird things, like stretching to do the splits and like stomping grapes in a vineyard. It's like not typical things. So I'm like, how is that even going to be possible? Right? Like, am I going to like call vineyard makers and like, hey, can I come to your like place and stomp on some grapes? Like, not happening. Well, within like a couple of months, so that was like January of last year, in February, I met this guy and he was like looking at being into like the health coaching industry. Turns out he works for vineyards all over California, knows a bunch of winemakers. And I was like, ooh, I'm getting closer.
Can I step on some grapes?
Totally random. And then we went to California in July for our annual conference, and he couldn't make it, but he invited us to come to a vineyard and tour the vineyard that he worked at. And I was like, are you seriously going to let me stomp grapes? And he's like, yeah, if you want to. It's super weird. I'm like, yes.
Oh, that's so fun.
And then, of course, while I was there, if you guys go on my Instagram account, I had to do the Kiki there when like the whole Kiki song was like so popular.
That's where that was.
That was at the vineyard. I was like, okay, I'm totally going to do that song right here in the vineyard. And I was just like having a good time. But
so he really let you step on grapes?
Yeah.
Oh, did they use those grapes for wine?
Yeah. No, I don't think they probably use it for wine. I think that's like old fashioned.
Oh, okay.
But I totally got to do it.
I've always wondered about that. I'm like, they use their bare feet and then we drink it.
Yeah,
but
no.
Like that brand Barefoot Wine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it makes sense
totally
now.
makes sense. Oh my gosh.
I never made that connection.
Me neither.
Ew.
Okay. Maybe that's why it's not a high class wine.
Right? So like if you don't mind feet.
But yeah, so put it on your vision board, put those like crazy random ideas and like look at them every day. And that whole saying is like, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you land upon the stars. Like,
right.
Okay, you may not get that like $50 million mansion, but you've believed yourself and made it into fruition that you got that dream home that's perfect for you in your hometown, or,
right.
A cottage on a lake that you've always wanted to buy, but you got to believe it.
Yeah. And, setting your tangible goals. If it's a $50 million house that you want, then put that dollar amount on your board and break it down. Like if you want to reach that in 10 years, then you need to make $5 million a year?
Yeah. Like stop
More
spending money on things that you don't want.
Exactly. So you just have to break it down and, achieve one step at a time.
Yeah. I encourage everyone to do a vision board. It can be small. It can be fancy. It could be just some pictures you cut out and always update it, right? Like just because it's the new year doesn't mean that you can't constantly be adding to your vision board or changing your goals. It's just...
And you might reach your goals sooner than you anticipated. Mm-hmm. And so you should constantly add more.
Yeah.
Ooh, but while we're talking about vision boards, did I ever tell you about Nastia Liukin?
No.
She won the 2008 Olympics, like the gold medal, I think for all around gymnastics or something. But anyway, she had a vision board for that. And what she did is she added, when they announced like what the 2008 gold medal was going to look like, she printed out a picture of it, like just an at-home printer, printed this out and added that to her vision board. And then her dad had won some gold medals in the Olympics in the past. And so her mom dug one of those up. And so she hung an actual gold medal from the Olympics on her board as well. And so she would see those two every day.
Oh my gosh.
And she says that, something in her brain just changed. And she was like, okay, well, I'm winning the gold. That's what's happening. So every practice was different. Every movement was different. Everything changed.
I think that's so amazing. Like, especially for big goals like that, right? That are like career changing, life changing. You have to almost kind of like see that happening for you.
Yeah.
And like, for example, if someone is trying to get a promotion at their job, right? Like, I think you go into it like, oh, I hope I get that promotion, or I hope that they like me, or I hope I get hired. It's like, no, see yourself doing that job.
Right.
And when you go in for that interview, or when you go in and ask for that promotion, you're going in there with like this attitude, just like she probably went into the Olympics with that attitude of like, I deserve to be here. I'm going to prove to everyone I deserve to be here. And I'm doing the damn thing.
It's almost like knowing the end result and being like, well, I already know, but you guys are going to see it happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing story.
I know. When I heard that, I was so impressed. I was like, it's real, people.
Yeah. Okay. So now I got to do some work on my vision board.
I know. You literally put anything out there. Put your wildest dreams.
I will. I think we should post them on our Instagram, our vision boards when we're done doing them.
I do. I need to do one like this.
You guys need to do the same. When you get done with your vision board, and you don't even need pictures. Sometimes I've seen people do vision boards with just like sayings and quotes or words, like what's your word of the year?
Right.
And tag us. Tag us, show us. I love it because some of my best girlfriends, I will screenshot their vision boards and I will hold them accountable. I will bring it up to them. I will help support them. Like, when are we getting that Bentley? Like, when are we getting this? When are we going to Greece? Like,
exactly.
I think supporting our friends and like knowing their truest dreams and our family and our friends too, right? Like we should know what the people around us really want out of their life and be their cheerleader.
And it also keeps you more accountable. So
totally.
It's a win-win.
Yes. So vision board, that's a good goal.
Yes.
And then, so you want to wrap it up? Do you have any other thoughts? I think we really covered it all.
Yeah, I think that's all the value I have for today.
Yay. I hope that helped you guys, really kind of gets you into action. Get your SMART goal down, break it down into tangible goals. Think of intention, not resolutions.
Make a lasting change and not just, something that will last for 2 months, but really change your life in the way that you want to change it.
Yeah. It's a new year and there's so much resources and information out there and really just manifest it to be true. It'll happen.
Yeah.
So Kathleen, what is your intention then, not your resolution, since we're recording this on Monday before the end of the year. So it's 5:30. We got about 6 hours before 2019 hits in Florida. So what is going to be your intention?
So my intention for 2019, well, it's more than 1 year, but 2019 definitely is going to be the first half of it, is to hammer away at my debt. And I don't want to terrify all of you, so I'm not going to give you the actual number that I have from student loans and past lives, but it's pretty high. So it'll take a couple years to completely get out of debt, but 2019, I'm going to do about 50% of it and really do some damage.
I love it. That's a really, really good goal.
Yes.
Because you have two ways. Yeah, 2 ways. You can either save money and stop spending as much, or you can just make more money.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll do both.
I think you should do both. I love that.
Okay, so what is your intention?
So my intention for 2019 is to minimalize my life.
Ooh, good one.
In so many ways. I've always been one like to want more, and like I love going shopping and getting more clothes and more friends and more everything. But I think this year, like with my health and with everything and the chaos around me, I just need to like minimize.
Right.
So we should do an episode in the future all about minimalistic lifestyle.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It really affects every department of your life.
Yeah. And that's why I'm just going to set that intention that I'm just going to like minimalize everything. And I think it'll bring me a lot more joy because the things I will have will be things that I've kept around for a reason.
Right.
And that...
And you can invest your time and energy into those and developing those things.
Yeah.
And those relationships.
It's like the KonMari method. I think it's how you say it. It's like a whole book on like decluttering your home. And when you like grab something, the way that you know if you keep it or throw it is when you put it in your hand, does it bring you joy? Oh. And if you don't feel any type of way about it, it's got to go.
It's got to go. Bye-bye.
So that's going to be mine. And we'll totally do a future episode.
That is such a good one. But yeah, we should do a whole episode on that.
Yeah. You've inspired me on the minimalistic lifestyle for sure.
Yay.
We went to Orlando and stayed at a hotel for 4 days and I had to pack up like all my things to make food. So I had a convection oven, I had my blender, I had my hot water cooker, and then like barely any clothes. And my husband and I were in this room for 4 days, barely left the room. And I looked at him and I was like, I kind of like this minimalistic lifestyle. And he just laughed. He's like, okay, then. And I'm like, no, I'm using the same teacup every day. I got my same like shaker bottle. I'm not doing dishes. Like,
is that just a total 180 from the Mandi he married?
Total 180. I was like, we need 50 champagne flutes in case we have 50 friends that come over.
You never know.
Slight hoarder over here. So this is going to be a really big intention.
Yes. Well, okay. At least you have a year.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Doing the things. So what is our upgrade? What are we going to leave everyone with? Our WAC upgrade of the week.
Yes. We think you guys should pick your main goal or your main intention and set out a plan. So a goal without a plan is just a wish. So make it a reality and use the SMART acronym to make it as specific as you can and have a timeline and just make it as easily check offable as possible.
I love that.
So we'll have all the information on our website, and check in with us, #WAC upgrade.
And show us your vision boards.
Yes.
And totally connect with us. I can't wait to see what everyone's got on their boards. It's so interesting.
Yes. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to 2019. An amazing, amazing podcast coming your way. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you're celebrating safely.
And thanks for listening as always.
Enjoy your
We
champagne.
love you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.